This class that we're gonna have today is about personal empowerment and embracing your new self. So I like definitions. I like to not only throw words around, but kind of pick them apart and look at what they really mean. So we're going to talk about what personal empowerment is and a couple of elements that are involved in empowering or being empowered. And then we're going to talk about what it means to embrace this new you, right? This new you implies that there was an old you. So we're going to pick that apart as well. And then we're going to talk about permission to be that new you and what that can look like for you. So here we go. The meaning of empowerment. When you look up that meaning, you're going to see words like authority, control, the power to do or make something happen, or to become stronger, or to have more confidence and having more control in your life. Empowerment is about claiming your right, your power, your authority to do what you want to do without external approval, right? So I talked about there being a couple of elements to empowerment. So when we're talking about empowerment, a lot of times you hear about control. I want to be in control. I want to be in control of my life. I want to be in control of situations. I want to be in control of how things happen. And then I think there's this other element of responsibility, right? So responsibility is more of a duty to take care of something, a duty to manage something. It's sometimes a legal obligation, right? But there's a sense of not only do I want to do this thing, but I have to do this thing. I have to take care of this thing. I have to manage and make sure that it is cared for and taken care of. So control and responsibility, I believe, go into that sense of empowerment. So a lot of people like the idea of control, right? I can make this person do this. I can make this happen. I can make. Whereas responsibility to me is more about a way of being, right? So we're going to zoom into those and what that looks like as we talk about personal empowerment, right? And embracing ourself and our new self. So personal empowerment is about applying these elements of control and responsibility to ourselves. So if we're going to have empowerment and we're going to have control, you've probably heard many times you can't control what people do. You can't control the outcome. You can't control what happens. So what can you control? You can control how you think about what's happening. You can control how you feel about what's happening. You can control how you respond to what happens. So the idea of control sounds great, but the only thing you really have control over is you and your response. So if we're going to talk about personal empowerment, we're talking about personal control, also called self-control, right? So say you're driving down the highway, trying to get to work, trying to get to a date, just trying to get somewhere, and you get cut off. Do you have control over that? No. You have control over yourself and your car and how you respond. Now, when I was younger, I didn't have the self-control that I'm talking about now. I would be angry and flip the person off or have this whole narration of what a horrible person this person was. That's fear. right? And a desire to be in control. Over the years, what I've learned is, again, self-control, right? So I've come to this place in my life that I actually try to practice what I teach. But now when someone cuts me off, I say, ooh, they must be late for work. Or, oh my goodness, maybe someone in their family is in danger. Or maybe they really have an emergency and they have to get to where they need to get to. So I choose to shift the way I think about this person who just cut me off. Obviously, they have something really important that they're trying to get to. And they don't know me. So it does no good for me to take them personally, right? So if I can control the narrative in my head, if I can control how I'm thinking, I'm also controlling my mood. I'm controlling my own heart rate. I'm controlling my own internal equilibrium, right? So self-control is not about being rigid and I must have everything this way. But what it is about talking yourself through the things that will surely happen in life. That you're not going through life taking other people's behavior personally, right? That if I can say, man, good luck, get to where you need to get to safely. Godspeed, sir. Godspeed, ma'am. Fellow human on the planet, I hope you get to where you need to get to safely. And it has nothing to do with me. And I can get back to enjoying my music and back to enjoying my, right? But if I get all tied up and tense and angry and taking this person personally, I've dysregulated my heart rate, right? I've raised my adrenaline. I've raised my fight or flight triggers in my body. So personal empowerment is about self-control, not taking other people personally, giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? You don't know what's going on with them. You have no idea, right? And that's just one example. There can be examples at work, right? Maybe your boss is having a horrible day and they come in and they're yelling at you or fussing at you or treating you, in some disrespectful way. You can take that personally, internalize it. Oh my God, I hate this job. I hate this person hates me. This is a horrible place to work. I hate being here, and da 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 da. All of those thoughts sets your body on this course of fight or flight, right? If you're not happy, if you're frustrated, if you're upset, you get defensive. And the body is thinking, oh my God, we're in danger. This person is out to get us. Oh my God, I'm doing something I don't really want to do. I'm being forced to do this and the other. And the body starts responding in this way that creates anxiety, right? And now the adrenaline is high, the digestive system is acting all up in this, because you're taking this situation personally. If you know what you're doing on your job, you've dotted your I's, crossed your T's, and this person's just having a rough day. You can say, oh, all right, I guess they're having a rough day. That doesn't mean I have to have a rough day. I've done what I need to do. I'm available to help someone else if they need help. Is there a way that I can make this day go smoother? And if there's not, I don't live here. I'm here 7 hours. I'm here 8 hours. I get a break in an hour. I can take that 15 minutes to relax, manage myself, manage my own internal self, right? And what's interesting is now that boss is having this rough time, their energy isn't clashing with yours, isn't matching with yours. And they got to find someone else to go and feel bad with, right? Like, I'm not saying you have to throw a parade every day, that you need to walk around, oh, happy-go-lucky every day. But what I'm saying is when you can control how you're thinking, how you're perceiving what's going on around you, you are managing yourself. You are practicing self-control, which tells your body, I'm good, I'm safe. That is a sense of power. That is a sense of authority. That is a sense of autonomy, that you're not moved by other people's moods and behaviors, that you get to choose how you want to respond, right? And yes, there are times when you're already tired and you're already frustrated or you're hungry, and so you're kind of running on low, and it's easy to get your goat. But this class is about personal empowerment, and personal empowerment is about getting a handle of yourself, having control over yourself, right? And then that other element of responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself. You have a responsibility to the people and the things you care about, to manage yourself well, to take care of yourself. So the responsibility to eat well, the responsibility to sleep well, the responsibility to take the breaks, to take the naps, to take those timeouts that you need for your own personal well-being, right? And a lot of people say, well, I have to do this for my kids, and I have to do this for my partner, and I have to do this for school, and I have to do this for work. You're not doing any of those things constantly. At some point, the baby is going to sleep, and you can take a few minutes to just be with yourself, check in with yourself. At some point, the partner is going to go to work, or is going to go to sleep, or is going to do something that doesn't necessarily involve you. And you can take small breaks, time to be with yourself, to check in with yourself. At work, it's actually the law that you get breaks and you get lunch. And those times can be used in a way that's self-soothing, that's self-rejuvenating, right? But if you go to lunch and you jump on your phone and you're scrolling, you're not with yourself. If you go to lunch and you're in there gossiping with other people, talking about everything that's going wrong, you're not with yourself. You're actually feeding the anxiety. You're feeding the anger. You're feeding these other things that aren't helping. And so that element of responsibility is really about self-love. It's really about being your own friend. It's about showing up for yourself, right? So you have controlling yourself, your thoughts, because how you think about something is going to tell your body how to feel about something. If you think that person's doing me wrong, the body is automatically going to start gearing up for a fight or flight. Right? But if you're feeling powerless about it, then the body kind of shuts down and goes the other way in that powerless, hopeless place where it's depression. Either way, you're stressed out, you're dysregulated, you're not feeling well. So you're either feeling anxious about this thing or you're feeling depressed about this thing, right? And anxiety can build up and become frustration and become anger and become rage, right? And depression is like sad and then hopeless and powerless, and there's a different kind of rage, but now you're mad at yourself because you didn't stick up for yourself. Either way, when you're taking someone else personally, taking their behavior, their actions personally, the body gets defensive or the body starts to shut down, feeling powerless. That's not the control we want. That's being out of control. So being in control is deciding how you want to think. I choose to believe that whatever they got going on has nothing to do with me, because it really doesn't, right? If someone gives you a compliment, there's a good chance they're having a good day, right? And if someone's giving you an insult, there's a good chance they're having a bad day. So if you decide how you want to show up, regardless of how everybody else shows up, that is self-control. Control your thoughts, which controls your mood, which controls your body, controls your thoughts, which controls your body, which controls your mood, right? Because energy, emotion, right, is dictated by how we're thinking about a thing. And we're so brilliant, we can think ourselves into anxiety, or we can think ourselves into happiness. We can think ourselves into content, right? You don't have to have a party going on all the time, but just content with, this is what it is right now. And that has nothing to do with me. I'm here to do this job. I do it well. And then I'm going to go home. And I'm not going to be so frustrated that I can't embrace my partner when I get home. I'm not going to be so frustrated that I have to dismiss my children when I get home. Because I've been practicing controlling my own thoughts and my own energy, right? And the flip side of that is I have a responsibility to myself. I have a responsibility to my heart, to my breath, to my body, not to let someone else dysregulate me to the point that I can't receive the love from my family, that I can't receive support from my friends, because I'm supposed to go to girls' night tonight after work. But if I let my boss dysregulate me, or a coworker dysregulate me, and I'm supposed to go and have a good night with my girls, then I'm at the party and I'm just like, ugh, work. Let me tell you that. Do you want to be that person on girls' night? Right? You want to go out and celebrate. You want to go out and collaborate. You don't want to commiserate, right? That we're talking about everything going wrong. And then we can't enjoy our wine or our margarita or our whatever your drink of choice is. You have to overdo it because you're trying to drown whatever went wrong. That's not self-control. That's not power. That's trying to escape something that you feel powerless about. And so this class is about inviting you to think about you. Because wherever you go, there you are. And your primary relationship is with you. And how you treat you is how you're going to allow other people to treat you. So if you're not managing your mood and your behavior, you're going to attract people who don't care about your mood and your behavior. They're happy to dump all over you. It's amazing. Bullies have radar. They have radar for people who don't care about themselves, people who don't have self-esteem, people who don't have a sense of empowerment, who haven't embraced their authority in their life. And I don't mean an authority that diminishes anyone else. I mean your personal autonomy. I mean your personal power. I mean that thing that you were born with. The thing that you were born with before broken adults taught you that you should be seen and not heard. Before broken adults decided, no, you can't do that because you're in a girl body. No, you can't do that because you're in a boy body. No, you can't do that because you're in a brown body or a white body or Chinese body or this body or that body, right? Before you learned anything about limits, you were born with a sense of self, right? In psychology, they talk about the ego and the id and the superego, but you were born with a sense of self. And that was developed and fostered depending on the home you were in, or was crushed and diminished depending on the home you were in. But guess what? The thing that beats your heart and the thing that breathes your lungs guarantees you a sense of autonomy. Free will belongs to everyone. Free will belongs to everyone. Everyone has a right to be their full self, right? So when we're talking about autonomy, we're talking about empowerment, and we're talking about self-control, remember that element of responsibility, that you are responsible to yourself to be the best possible version of you, right? That you can't have control over anything else, and that's not your job. Your job is control how you engage with it, how you respond to it. You can't make someone do anything. I mean, well, you can by force, right? Short term, you can beat a kid into submission. You can nag until finally they're just like, great, here, take it. But is that how you want your relationships to be? This kind of obligation, like owing debt? Or do you want a collaboration? Do you want to co-create your relationships? Or do you want to feel like you're a burden or submitted to this person because they had authority over you? No one has authority over you until you give it. When you go to work, that is a business exchange, right? Your boss doesn't own you. It's a business exchange. When you go to school, it's a business exchange, right? And so there's a collaboration. I'm going to do this job the best I can while I look for something that feels better to me. That's personal empowerment. Oh my God, I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job. That's victim stance. So how are you going to show up in your life? Is life a series of, I have to do this, I gotta do this, if I don't do this, my mom's gonna be mad, if I don't do this, my husband's gonna be mad, if I don't do this, my friends are gonna... You're constantly living at the mercy of other people. But when we're talking about personal empowerment, you're doing things because it feels good. I love to cook, and I love the looks on my family's faces when they're enjoying what I've created. Right? I love to spend time with my friends, and it's something that feeds the relationship. I love that I can go to work and earn a living to pay my bills. I love that I can go to this place and contribute this, and it fills me up because I am who I am. I am who I was meant to be when I do this thing. That is what personal empowerment is about, that you're doing what you love, you're doing what you want to do, and it benefits your relationships. But if you're in a series of, I have to or I'm going to get in trouble, there's a whole line of problems that go with that. If you're living your life avoiding trouble, that's not happiness. That's not empowerment. And then you're like, oh, well, now I have this problem, and I have this problem, and I have this problem. We're learning more and more about neuropsychology, more and more about the correlation between medical problems and mental health problems, right? That something like 80% of our medical problems stem from mental illness, right? That there are direct correlations between diabetes and depression and high blood pressure and heart disease and anxiety, right? That if we're not taking care of how we think, the body is going to pay the price for it. And so self-control, controlling your thoughts, which is controlling your feelings, which is controlling how you respond to things, controlling those behaviors in a way that works for you. Now, some people are going to call you crazy, and that's fine, because crazy is not stupid. right? There's a difference. You can be crazy and be a genius and get it and be happy. But the unwillingness to try a different way, if this is not working, just give this a try. Just give it a try, right? And back to that responsibility, you owe it to yourself because you're the one person that's going to be with you for your entire life. You owe it to yourself to take care of how you think, to take care of how you behave, to take care of how you show up, to take care of how you negotiate your choices. Right? So responsibility is your personal authority, your personal autonomy in the ways that you show up.